Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sounds in 505. My name's Nick. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are a new viewer. Today, me and Jacob to the left of me, we are going to be reviewing Johnny Cash's third studio album and his fourth overall album, Hymns, by Johnny Cash. You have anything you want to say before we begin?
Yes. I do have a little bit of background information on this album, to quote Breyer. So this was an album, this was kind of a passion project for Johnny Cash. He wanted to do a gospel album as early in his career. But on the original record label he was under, Sun Records, when he recorded his debut album, Sam Phillips refused to allow Johnny Cash to do a gospel album. He didn't think it would be marketable. So Johnny Cash left Sun and moved over to Columbia on the condition that he record a gospel album. So the fabulous Johnny Cash and Hymns by Johnny Cash were actually recorded simultaneously, but the gospel album was released a year after the fabulous Johnny Cash. This is an album. I was trying to look up reviews for this album. According to the Wikipedia page, like the website All Music gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. One group, the Rolling Stone Album Guide, called the album fairly uninspiring. I'm like, why would you say that to Johnny Cash? I'll never know why. But then Billboard called two of the tracks, It Was Jesus and I Saw a Man, outstanding. So I guess if we're just looking at it like that, this might not be the most well liked album critically, but listening to this album, this was a blind spot. I'm not familiar with hearing any gospel Johnny Cash album, and he did several gospel albums throughout his career. I would say this is a really terrific album. I was surprised going in that, I thought, oh, Johnny Cash is going to do covers of traditional church hymns, like Your Amazing Grace and How Great Thou Art and Softly and Tenderly and stuff like that. But no, these are all contemporary songs, at least for the time. Johnny Cash actually wrote 4 of these 12 songs. There's only like one traditional hymn that's on this album, which I was really surprised by that. So I actually enjoyed the I think variety that's actually on this album. He does the gospel sound while doing his own country rockabilly sound. I thought it was a really cool album.
My few thoughts, I agree with what you said. I think he does this really, really well. When I first heard that this was a gospel album, I had very low hope. I really had low standards going into this, but I had no idea what any of the songs were. I was like, I don't recognize anything from this, but I came out really liking this album. So far, in terms of studio albums wise, he's 3 for 3 for just outstanding albums. But let's get right into this. Let's get into the meat of the album. The first song on the album, It Was Jesus.
I love this song. It's going to be really high on my top 5. Great way to open the album because you have the signature Johnny Cash sound. This is one of the 4 that Johnny Cash wrote himself. I do like the call and response on this song where he's like building up who Jesus is in the song, like things that we read about in the Bible. And then at the end of the chorus, he's like, "Who was this?" And then you got the Jordanaires are on this album again, like on the fabulous Johnny Cash. And like I said on the fabulous Johnny Cash, the Jordanaires are like the secret sauce to any recording between Johnny Cash, Patsy Cline, and Elvis Presley. And so hearing the Jordanaires go, "It was Jesus," I'm like, yes, I love this song. This is an amazing track.
I quite agree with that. This is a really good song on the album. Sadly, it did not make my top 5. I really enjoyed it though. if there is one song that I feel like would have had the most of a chance of being a big hit, it would definitely be this song.
I could see this one being a hit.
I'm
Actually,
surprised this wasn't a hit because this
yeah.
has all the makings of a good hit for him. But what do I know? But yeah, this is another really good song of his. Yeah, I really quite like it. Next song on the album, I Saw a Man.
Hmm. Another good track as well. This one you really get to hear Johnny Cash's baritone vocals. No, he didn't write this one. I just checked to see, but you really get to see his baritone vocals shine on this one. I thought the storytelling behind the song was interesting. Him dreaming about meeting Jesus or something like that. Not one of my favorites on the album. It was low on my ranking when I first listened to it, and then I listened to it again before the stream. I'm like, this is a really good song, and I think a lot of it is his vocal delivery is what makes the song really powerful at times.
I really like this song. I really quite like it. I It's made my top five, but I get where you're coming from, though. But this is one of my favorites from this album. Not to say it was Jesus wasn't. That's another amazing song, but yeah, I really like the song. Um, Next song on the album, or should I say spoken word track on the album, are All the Children In.
Yeah, yeah. This is the one song that prevents me from giving this album a 10 out of 10. This is my least favorite song on the album. The primary reason is did not feel like a song to me. It's just Johnny Cash speaking about
Yeah.
what's happening in the song, and that was something that actually did happen in a lot of country songs back then, where artists don't sing; they just talk along, and sometimes that works. Even Johnny Cash actually got away with that in later songs. Like we'll get to a boy named Sue. He hardly sings on that song. He just does some talk speaking in that song. But I think it works great in that song because of the rhythm that song has. Here it's a very slow moving. I guess the content of the actual song is pretty good, and I like there's like the Jordanaires in the background humming the I think the hymn "Just as I Am" in the background. I actually thought that was a cool little touch, but I don't know. I kind of wish Johnny Cash sang "Just as I Am." I think that would have been a better placement on the album than whatever this song is trying to be. It's not bad. I just think it's a slight misstep on an otherwise great album.
Even though I really enjoy this, um, I really like his voice is so good that for me, he could get away
Yeah,
with it. I will agree this is the weakest song on the album. This was I even told Jacob at one point this was my favorite of the albums we reviewed so far, but after re-listening to this song, I'm like, yeah, I'm probably gonna have to give it to the second album still. But yeah, this is still I still really like it. It's just something that you wouldn't expect him to do that much. I think I agree with what you said. I think he did it best with Boy Named Sue when he did that live at San Quentin. But yeah, I get why this could prevent you from making a 10 out of 10 album. I looked at your hits and more, and I saw this thing make it on
it's
there.
the only song on my hits and more that's not on the playlist. So
Mhm. I wouldn't even consider it a song. It's just more of a spoken word thing with music on top of it. Um, Having all of that said, let's get to the next song. The Old Account.
yeah, I like this song. It's got a good rhythm to it. Uh, I like the lyrically another really good song. I like how he uses the analogy of a bank account to bring up the fact that when you're in the blood of Christ, your sins are forgiven. I like that analogy very well. And then you got the Jordanaires doing backing vocals on this track as well, which again, make the song really stand out. There's a lot of great songs on this album, and there's a lot on this album I'd want to put in my top five, but I can safely say this is an honorable mention.
I agree. This is an honorable mention for me as well. Um, I really enjoy this too. I think the Joiners did a really good job in the backing vocals. Um, I don't ever really see this being in my top 50 Johnny Cash songs anytime soon, but this is a really good song on the album. Nothing really much more to say. Um, Next song on the album, Lead Me Gently Home.
Oh, this song is amazing. Oh my gosh, this song is so good. So I said this was a blind spot album. I'd not heard any of the songs. Two songs I've actually heard before because I've heard other people sing this song before in different like Christian albums and stuff. So I've actually heard this before, but not Johnny Cash sing it. But this is an amazing rendition of the song, and a lot of it has to do with his vocal delivery on it. I think it's an incredibly powerful song. And then when you got Johnny Cash going, "Lead me gently home, Father," I'm like, oh man, it just gets goosebumps when you hear him sing that baritone vocal on a track like this. And yeah, because of that, it's in my top five just for his vocal delivery alone.
I agree. This is also my top five. This is a amazing song. I can't believe I'm only hearing it now. Really, it's like man, I've been in the dark when it comes to like a lot of these Johnny Cash albums. It's gonna be a lesson for me on uh on how great his music is because a big chunk of these albums I've never heard before.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I've heard like 5 or 6 albums before, but man, I wish this was one of them. This is such a great song. Um, I don't really have much to add. You pretty much summed it up really well. His vocal delivery is so good, and it really works for this slow song. I'm like, in my opinion, I've never heard any other version of this song, but I don't think anyone could top his version. In my opinion, I could be wrong. I've never heard the other version, so I could be completely wrong, but I'm hoping I'm right that this is the best version. Um, um, Scott commented, uh,
Hey Scott,
"I'm here."
Scrap Dog Man.
Nice. Um, but let's get to the next track though, which is "Swing Low, Sweet Chariot."
So this is the song I'm the most familiar with. This is a very popular song. Uh, I've I've heard this on quite a few other gospel albums that I've heard over the years, gospel recordings. This is a very well known, popular song. I read this song was written during the time of the Underground Railroad, so there's a lot of history to this song. I've not heard the Johnny Cash version until now, and much like Lead Me Gently Home, I think this is an amazing track. I like how Johnny Cash fits it in his signature style. His vocal delivery on this song is amazing, and you got the Jordanaires backing him up, which makes the song even better. So, this is another one that's in my top five.
Yeah, this is another really good song. When I first heard this song, I'm like, this song is so good.
Yeah.
I'm like, this song is so catchy. I love the way that he's singing it. I love the backing vocals. This is not even my favorite song on the album. I think it's just perfect. It's just like
I
a
would,
perfect song.
yeah, I would say this song and It Was Jesus are the two biggest earworms on this album.
Yes, especially this song. Oh man, I'm like, oh man, I can't believe I've only hearing it now. I'm like, oh man, thank goodness we were doing the Johnny Cash series because I would have never discovered this awesome song. It's a lot of these awesome songs. I'm like, oh man, great discoveries for me.
Oh yeah,
Uh, yeah, that's such a good song. Uh, side. I don't own the album, so we'll just use a random album. It's the time.
yeah, man.
flip the record over. We now get to Snow in His Hair.
Yeah, I like this one as well. This one to me was kind of an outlier to me because I don't really see any religious gospel connotations with the song. To me, it's more about a song between the love of a father and son than anything else. But the storytelling behind the song is still really good. Where he talks about the age of the father and that he now has a snow in his hair, referencing the grays that he has in his hair, and that even with the age and time, the love between the father and son is still really strong. Uh, Not my favorite on the album, but still really good. And this might be, I might, I guess you could argue this song might be the most out of place because that's not really a gospel song in my opinion, but still a pretty good track overall.
I really like this song, but yeah, it's ranks lower on my list too. I mean, I kind of I'm liking that we agree, but at the same time, I was hoping you were gonna like the song a lot, and me be like, yeah, it's good, but it's towards the bottom of my list. Um, but I guess that's the magic of a lot of these great songs on this Johnny Cash album. I don't know. Don't worry, viewers. We're gonna disagree a lot because no way we're gonna go through 73 albums and we agree on everything. It's
Yeah,
that would be if that happened, that would just be really freaky. I'll be like,
yeah, because I'm more familiar with Johnny Cash, and you're kind of new-ish into Johnny Cash. You've heard some, but not a lot. So
mhm.
I think there will be some interesting opinions on some of these albums.
I'm hoping because it would be weird if we agreed on the same things on 73 albums. That would be freaky. I'd be like, I don't know. But yeah, this is good. Really, I like it a lot, but towards the bottom of my list.
Uh, to quote Scott's comment that I'm seeing, I am definitely open to covering Billy Joel at some point.
Um, I'll cover Billy Joel. I'd like to cover Billy Joel with you as well if I was being offered that. Is that in the video? I just saw the trailer for the Monkey Man movie and had it the Stone songs into it.
I'm sure I'm sure that'd be fun to watch.
Yes. Um, Next song on the album, "Lead Me, Father."
All right, it's interesting. We got two songs of this album that begin with "Lead Me." First, "Lead Me Gently Home," and now "Lead Me, Father." Uh, this one was actually written by Johnny Cash, but I would say of the two "Lead Me's," I actually prefer "Lead Me Gently Home." This one's probably more in the bottom of my ranking. Uh, I think the two songs are kind of similar in a lot of ways. I think similar as far as thematic, as far as the lyrical content, where relying on God to lead him in the direction he needs to go. I think the other song is a lot better. This one's just it's good. Johnny Cash sings well on it, but I would put it in the bottom of my ranking because I think the other tracks are better. You're on mute.
Thank you. Well, that's usually a mistake I make when me and Briar do our Black Sabbath series. We do. I tend to do that, but um, yeah, this is another great song. I I have this in my top five. Um, I can see why it isn't in yours. Um, I guess that's where I guess we kind of disagree on this, but we both like this song, so
Yeah, well, I still like it.
I my wish is half granted in that account, but yeah, I really like this song, but I get where you're coming from though. Next song on the album, I Call Him. You know,
This is another awesome song. I love the hook of this song. By the way, I call him, which obviously that's a reference to prayer, but it's really catchy. I love the backing vocals from the Jordanaires. There's a lot of great descriptive lyrics in this song that I just love to eat up. And I would put this one in my top five as well.
Me too. I freaking love this song. It's such a great song. When I first, this is another song when I first heard on the album. I'm like, this is another song. I'm like, how the heck did I not hear this before listening to this album? This is such a
Yeah.
great song. I'm like, so much great discoveries on this album. This is like of the three studio albums we listened to, this is like the one that I'm like the most happy I discovered. Even though I do prefer Fabulous Johnny Cash a little more, but in terms of discoveries, this one's the definitely the biggest eye opener so far. Um, yeah, I love this. I love the song. Next song on the album, "Those Things Shall Pass."
This one's okay. It's probably my second to least favorite track on the album. I don't think it's a misstep like the spoken word song we talked about earlier, but this one, even though it's decent enough that made my hit some more playlists, to me, it's just one that just kind of goes in one ear and out the other. It's not as memorable compared to the others on the album, but I just know I think Johnny Cash sings really good on the song, and that's kind of about it for me.
That's fair. I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I really like this song, but yeah, it's sort kind of is in my bottom two as well. I feel like, well, in terms of our least favorite, we could both agree on that, and I guess we could both agree on this being sort of on the bottom too. It's good, but it's not like something that you're going to be like, we need to listen to this. Out of the vast amount of songs he made and the 73 albums he made that we're reviewing, this is not like one that I'm going to be like, I have to listen to this. But yeah, like if it's on a play, like I have like a big chunk of like I have a big playlist of songs I like. I added it to that playlist. Like I'll listen to it, but it's nothing I could be like I have to go searching for it.
Mhm.
Um, Next song on the album, "He'll Be a Friend."
Yeah, this is another really good song. Another one of those catchy rockabilly country type songs. I like how he fits the religious storytelling of the song with his style. It works very well. I kind of wish he had an extra verse to this song because just when I was getting into it, it ends. I'm like, oh, you could have done another verse because there's other people in the Bible you could sing about and then make the analogy, God was their friend, he could be your friend. I'm like, you could have done more to this song. That's part of the reason why it's not in my top five, but it's still a really good honorable mention.
I really like this song. I ranked it like number seven. Um, my sixth favorite song on the album is "It Was Jesus," but this is like number seven on the list.
Yeah.
So this is another honorable mention. But yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. This is another really good song on the album. I'm kind of with you on that. I mean, it's not enough to like prevent it from being in the top five. I just happen to like the my five favorite just more. But I get where I would get where you're coming from though. But yeah, it's another fantastic song on the album. Um, Last song on the album, we got "God Will."
Fantastic album closer. This one is in my top five. I think it's a beautiful song that does a great reflection on the power of God. And I think Johnny's vocal delivery on this song, especially in the chorus, is outstanding. It's, I think, a beautiful way to wrap up the album.
I'm with you on that. This didn't make my top five, but I really like the song. Of the three album closers we went over, of the three we covered, this is probably my favorite of the three. From with his blue and steel card guitar with the "Doing My Time," um, "Supper Time," and
Yeah.
"God Will." This is probably my favorite of the three.
So,
Um,
what was it? Doing my time, supper time, God will. Then the other album, May and Famous, it's Big River.
yeah, that's probably my least favorite of the four.
I
But
would say I would say of those four, Big River is probably still my favorite album closer.
I could see why.
Yeah,
I think it's good, but it's not one of my favorites.
yeah,
But I get where you're coming from though.
yeah.
Um,
That was my favorite song from that album.
I remember.
I shocked you on that one.
And I'm like, this is his favorite. I'm like, okay. Being like, I'm glad we have a disagreement on that because, like I said, it'd be weird if we all agreed on the same thing for so many albums. Like, what is your top five though?
All right, so I'll share my honorable mentions first.
Mhm.
I got three honorable mentions, which are "I Saw a Man," the old account, and my number six is "He'll Be a Friend." Top five. My number five is "God Will." Number four, "I Call Him." Number three, "Swing Low, Sweet Chariot." Number two, "Lead Me Gently Home." And my number one, it was Jesus.
Cool. We shared three of those songs, but I'll go with my honorable mentions. God will. It was Jesus. Um, I'll again. He'll be a friend is an honorable mention as well. My top five is going to be number five. Lead Me Gently Home. That's when we shared. Number four. Lead Me Father. Number four. Lead Me Father. Number three. Swing Low, Sweet Chariots. Number two, I Saw a Man, my favorite song on the album. I Call Him. Um,
Okay.
that song really amazed me. I'm like,
Yeah.
this song is so gosh darn good.
All right. I'm glad that's your number one, and you got a pretty good top five as well.
Yes. Yeah, really good top fives we had. What do you rate this album from 1 through 10?
All right. Scale of 1 to 10. I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10. So currently, I have three Johnny Cash albums that are 9 out of 10. Hot and Blue Guitar and Fabulous Johnny Cash are also 9 out of 10. I think I prefer his first two albums over this album. Like, I think they're more iconic albums, especially the debut. And Fabulous Johnny Cash blew me away when I listened to that one and how underrated it is and some of the
Hmm.
quality of the songs on there. But I think this is a really top notch gospel album. I like that he does a great job of singing these songs, uh, writing his own songs at times, and even singing the old favorite like "Swing Low, Sweet Chariot" while doing it in his own style of music, which made it a really excellent album. I do think it's above the very loosely defined compilation album we reviewed the last time, and I'm gonna say it. If you've not listened to this album, if you've slept on this album, give it a listen to. I think it's a fantastic gospel album and a great Johnny Cash album.
That's a good way of putting it. I give this a 10 out of 10. I like everything on it. I'm very unpicky when it comes to giving tens because yeah. Um, but yeah, I think this is an amazing album. I will say the second album is still my favorite of the four we reviewed. Um, the songs that made him famous is probably still my least favorite of the four. Um, it's a really good album. Um, stay tuned with us next time where we review his last studio album in the 50s, which is Songs of Our Soil. That's the last of his regular studio albums of
Yeah,
the 50s.
I've looked up that album a little bit, and apparently that was his first concept album. He did quite a few concept albums during his career, and he was doing concept albums before rock and roll made it big.
Yes, I'm well. Stay tuned for that. I'm very excited to talk about that album because I love me a good concept album. Um, thank you so much for watching this video. Me and Jacob had it. We love making these reviews on Johnny Cash. He's a legend, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So long.